Dar Chapter 10, The Sacred Cave. All the clan people knew the location of the sacred cave, but this was the first time Dar and Bowen had been summoned there. Even as a young boy, Dar had lowered his voice when he passed its dark entrance. He knew important ceremonies were held inside, but no adult had ever told the children the secrets of the cave. Bowen took the lead on the narrow trail leading to the cave and walked with a springy step. "It's about to happen, Dar. Soon we'll be men." Dar did not reply. The sun was overhead by the time they reached the cave. Bowen stopped in front of its dark entrance and then stood very still, his high spirits suddenly gone. "Go inside, Bowen," Dar said. "What are you waiting for?" Bowen seemed rooted to the ground. "You go first," he said in a small voice. Seeing his strained face, Dar pressed Bowen's shoulder with his hand, then walked past him and ducked into the low cave entrance. Bowen followed close behind. They were plunged into another world. The narrow entry was cold and clammy. Faint traces of smoke hung in the stale air. The shaman had told them to move toward the light, but there was no light. Dar stretched out his arms to touch the jagged walls, but he could only feel a wall on his left. A stone clattered into the empty darkness on his right. Dar's body was cold as he walked forward in the darkness. The cavern echoed their heavy breathing. Dar moved slowly to avoid stumbling on the loose gravel on the path. His head struck a rock jutting out from the wall. "Drop down," he whispered to Bowen. They wriggled on their bellies until the overhang was behind them. A faint glow appeared ahead. Now Dar could see the dangerous drop on the right of the path. As they made their way forward, the glow became brighter. Dar heard the thumping of his heart. Surely Bowen could hear it too. The beats became louder, faster. Not heartbeats, drum beats. Dar quickened his steps to match the tempo of the drum. Turning a corner, he stopped so suddenly that Bowen bumped into him. They were at the entrance of a large chamber lit by shimmering torchlight. They had found the light at the heart of the cave. Slowly, Dar took in the spectacle before him. A towering figure of a man stood on a stone platform in the center of the chamber. His white fox fur cape fell below his knees. Bison horns seemed to grow from his leather head covering. A lion's tooth hung from his gleaming necklace of iridescent shells. It took Dar a moment to realize this was Janu who stood before him, transformed and majestic. The 5 adult men of Dar's clan were in the chamber. Behind the shaman stood Keenock, holding a spear for support. The pain of his injury still showed on his face. He was dressed in his finest fawn skin tunic and new beaver leggings. Attached to Keenock's belt was a green stone dagger Dar had never seen before. The shaman jabbed a forefinger at Dar and Bowen. "Come forward," he said. In the folds of Janu's cape, Dar saw a splendid flint knife. It was as long as his forearm and thinner than his little finger. The knife was so elegant and fragile. Dar knew it had been made for ceremonial use. A blow would have shattered it. With a hand wrapped in protective leather, Janu raised the great knife high above his head. At once, the torchbearers raised their torches on outstretched arms. The upper walls and ceiling of the chamber were bathed in light. Dar sucked in his breath. Animals leapt across the walls and ceilings of the chamber. Huge, wild bulls, outlined in black, lunged forward with energy and power. Galloping black and red horses in furry winter pelts moved in the opposite direction. Antlered deer ran with their heads held high. Then, Dar saw the creature of his dream. The animal with 2 long, straight horns, the legs of a lion, and the belly of a pregnant mare. In his nightmare, this same creature had come toward him, open-mouthed. Was he still dreaming? Dar stared at the vibrant animals around him. The guardian spirits must have put them there. Or had they been painted to represent the world of animal spirits? Dar stopped questioning, stopped thinking. He was only aware that in the flickering torchlight, the mysterious animals actually seemed to move. The low, hollow notes of a bone flute began to play. They sounded like the hooting of an owl. The shaman's deep voice joined the flute. From somewhere in the chamber, drum beats drove the rhythm of his chant. When I speak, the spirits listen. Give abundance, guard our people. When I speak, all creatures listen. Great bear dances, bison gather. When I speak, the seasons listen. White snow melts, red berries ripen. When I speak, the clan must listen. Live in balance. All is balance. Abruptly, the song ended. The flute and drum fell silent. Janu held his knife out in front of him and spoke. We are here to determine if these two boys are ready to leave their childhood and become men. They must prove their bravery in front of all the men of this clan. If they show fear or pain, manhood will be denied them. The shaman pointed to Dar. Hardly breathing, Dar made himself step forward. Janu bent down and grasped Dar's arm. Dar stared straight ahead. With the knife, the shaman cut 5 short lines, one above the other, into Dar's upper left arm. Blood spilled from the 5 cuts and they merged into one pane. Then Janu took white ash from his waist pouch and rubbed it into the man mark. The pain increased. Dar neither flinched nor cried out. The shaman looked into Dar's face, then nodded in approval. Dar felt his chest expand. The shaman called Bowen to the platform. As Bowen felt the knife, his eyes filled with tears. Dar gave him a silent sign of encouragement. The tears did not fall. When it was over, Janu nodded again, and Bowen's shoulders sagged with relief, then straightened. Bowen made a small movement of his head to thank Dar for his support. The shaman made a quick and unexpected motion and cut a small gash in the palm of his own hand. He flexed his fingers until blood collected in his palm. Then he bent down and mingled his own blood with the blood that flowed from the new man marks. Now Janu raised his great knife again and spoke directly to Dar and Bowen. Through me your blood is merged with the guardian spirits. Now you carry within you all that is sacred to us. You will come into your manhood to serve the clan and not yourselves. When the moon is reborn from the black womb of the sky, you too will be reborn as men and welcomed into this clan. The drum began to beat again in a driving rhythm, and now the song of the flute soared above the drums. The shaman began to turn in a tight circle on the stone platform, moving to the powerful drum beats with the pounding of his feet. Suddenly, Janu spread his arms wide, and the white fur cape lifted around him like wings. Dance, he commanded. Dar and Bowen began to dance in a circle around the stone platform in the middle of the great painted chamber, their arms streaked with the blood of their clan.